I'm going to shrink myself down. There we go. Minimize that. And if you guys have seen the video that I made called How to Film Like Anyone, I'm going to do a live version of that right now. So I'm basically going to break down the intro sequence for this series that Vox put out. It's called Explained. I love this series. It's so good. If you guys haven't seen this series, like, go binge watch it on Netflix. It's amazing. It's just super tight documentary storytelling. The intros are always like different, but they're same formula. And I love the intro. So I really want to like learn how to make that intro myself. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. And then I'm going to break it down shot by shot so I can learn how to make this intro because I really like it. And then you guys can learn how to make this intro. Let's see. And then every now and then I'm going to check in on the comments. So if you guys are watching this and you're like, oh, I really want to know how this person did this in this video, or like there's a video on the internet that you guys are interested in learning a lot more about, or learning how it's created shot by shot, then I can break that down too. Just drop a link in the chat. All right, so let's start this off. We're going to watch the intro together right now. Let me know if you guys can hear the sound coming through on here.
Monogamy has caused so much pain and heartbreak. If it's so hard for humans to be monogamous, why do most of us all around the world make it one of the most central goals of our lives?
I started asking myself, does he write for me?
Belgium, King Baudouin married Donna Fabiola. I'm a very lucky man.
A beautiful shot of the new royal couple.
Wonderful anniversary, Doc.
The Prince of Wales has admitted publicly that he was unfaithful.
I'm announcing my resignation.
The crime was to have conceived a child with a married neighbor.
Nelson Mandela were broken marriage.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
So that's the intro for this show. Every time they do a similar package for the intro, they kind of like plug and play, and it's always a little bit different. They use all this archival footage, and it's pretty quick, and it's really cool. So I'm going to break that down right now because I want to learn how to do that because I really like it. Mono on the left, desktop is stereo. Huh. I don't know if I can. Thank you, Kyler, for pointing out the mono on the left. I'm not sure if I can how to fix that. I see it though. I do see it. Let me pull it up here real quick. Technical difficulties. Oh yeah, it is mono on the left. Well, I'm not gonna try to fix that right now. But next time I will fix that issue. I promise. And hopefully that little box doesn't pop up too much. Let's get that focus set. Okay, cool. Go away. All right, anyways. All right, so let's break this down. So the intro...
Monogamy 100,000 called it quits.
So I'm going to use my keyboard shortcuts on YouTube once the intro starts, which is shift backwards arrow key.
Our quest for and
to slow it down.
Failure at monogamy has caused so much pain and heartbreak. If it's so hard for humans to be monogamous, why do most of us all around the world make it one of the most central goals of our life?
Okay, so the intro is going to start right here. Now we're in like super slow-mo. Okay, so in the very beginning of this intro,
why did he go the world?
So the intro is starting at 144. So go over here, 144, and then
I started asking myself, did he write for me?
In 40 to 147. So from 144 to 147, I don't know how many shots were there, but there was like probably 12 shots in a row. So like 12 quick cuts in a row. I'm gonna go back and look at it real quick. Put this in reverse. All right, jump back for a second. Oh, whoops. All right, so I'm going to count it this time. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13. So there's 13 shots in a row right there, which is pretty crazy in a couple of seconds. And they're just quick cuts of like this archival footage. And I'm not going to go like shot by shot on that. I don't think I'm going to move forward from that, but that's just like a really cool thing to think about when you're creating something like kind of preloading an intro or a segment with a bunch of shots, like quick. And when you're editing and you're thinking about, sometimes it's hard to think about. For me, sometimes it's hard to take a piece of footage that I really like and only show you 1 second. But doing that and smashing them together has a really cool effect. So that is something that is awesome about that first intro. And underneath that, if we listen to it, there's a single soundbite of someone talking. So let's listen to that one more time. We'll listen to it in real time.
If it's so hard for humans to be monogamous, why do most of us all around the world make it one of the most central goals of our lives?
I start asking myself, is he right for me?
So under that 13 shots, there's like this old stereo sounding woman saying, I started asking myself, is he right for me? And like, that's perfect for this monogamy topic. And it's like, has this old crispy sound to it of her like speaking. And then all these like quick shots above that. I started asking myself, is he right for me? So that's super cool. And at the same time, let's see, sound. I started asking myself, is he right for me? And then the music fades up right in that section right there.
Hard for humans to be monogamous, why do most of us all around the world make it one of the most central goals of our lives?
I start asking myself, is he right for me?
Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to check in on the chat over here. All right, let's see. So you're saying, Kyler's saying, hit the settings wheel next to mixer. Okay. Select down mix to mono on your mic. Down mix to mono. All right, maybe did that fix it? Yeah, it did. I can see both there. Awesome. Thank you, Kyler. I appreciate that. That is killer, man. Super helpful. Okay, so we're going to keep going here.
Us all around the world make it one of the most central goals of our lives.
I start asking myself, is he right for me?
And then so they have this quick smash up of shots, a single line, the music's fading up, and then they bring up their text in the center over here as those shots slow down. So 147, they're bringing up graphic text. I just use GFX as my abbreviation for graphic text, and they have a little animated line that comes under the Netflix, and they're like, that's punctuating that idea that this is a Netflix original documentary series. So they're gonna accentuate that word in particular. And then interesting, like, so we're coming off of these quick shots.
Why do most of us all around the world make it one of the most central goals of our lives?
I start asking myself, is he right for me?
And then on the right-hand side, if you look on the right-hand side of the frame now, there's like this film effect that is an overlay on top of this old clip of this woman. So they bring up this graphic, an archival shot with sort of like the old film writing, like used to write on film. Old film overlay. So they had that overlay on the old film there. And if you watch the series, they do that overlay on that, I think on that shot every time. Actually, here, let's pop over here and let's see. This is going to be a little bit, this is another one.
Waterways built by the people.
Yeah, so you see that overlay on the right-hand side there. I don't know if you guys can see that well enough. But basically, they do that in every one, and that continues with this like film overlay into this next shot. So I'm gonna play this back again in slow motion.
I start asking myself.
And something that's interesting to note right now is that in that intro, it's a mix of black and white footage. Shot, pacing, slows down. So they have the super quick cuts, and then we come into this next section, and the next section, they're slowing down the pacing and kind of like, they're just like ramping up the front of this, and then now it's like, okay, we're gonna like calm it down. And if we look at the pacing of these next shots, they all seem pretty similar.
All around the world, make it one of the most central goals of our lives.
I start asking myself, is he right for me?
Oh, I'm King Baudouin, married Donna Fabiola. I think I'm a very lucky man.
A beautiful shot of the new royal couple.
Okay, so like right there, it's like you're kind of getting like, maybe they're like hitting with the music a little bit more, and they're kind of like setting that pacing after they preloaded the front. And again, we're mixing all this archival footage together.
Lucky man.
He right for me?
Oh,
He right for me?
And you know what I just noticed? That initial line, "Is he right for me?" right here is actually Kyler. You know, you did a video about this. Kyler did a video about this. It's let's see, it's either an L cut or a J cut, but her audio is underneath the intro smashed up visuals, and then at the end, here, I'll draw this for you. Kyler, if you're still here, drop a link to that J and L cut tutorial you did. Okay, so you've got at the front of this, you have your visuals, which is all the quick cuts, and that's about 2 seconds long, and there's 13 shots in there. And then while that's happening, underneath it, you have this woman talking, and she's saying, you know, I started to ask myself, is he right for me? You hear her talking, but you're seeing all these quick cuts of different couples and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you see her at the end of that sentence, and that's when the graphics come up. And this arrangement right here is either a J cut or an L cut. And it's basically when you're putting something underneath something else. So I hope that makes sense. It is a super like amazing way to like use an editing trick to kind of like make your video, your edit a little more powerful. Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments here on white paper, and they overlaid that. Wait. Oh, there we go. Cool. So if you guys just tuned in, I'm breaking down the intro of a Netflix series called Explained by Vox. It's a documentary series, and I'm breaking down the intro of that, like frame by frame, kind of like really digging deep. We're a little bit into it, but definitely if you jump in at any time, you're gonna learn some stuff here.
Belgium, King Baudouin married Donna Fabiola. I think I'm a very lucky man.
A beautiful shot of the new royal couple.
And so, okay, so for those next, handful of shots, they're taking the sound bite from that actual shot, so you can hear.
Belgium, King Baudouin married Donna Fabiola. I think I'm a very lucky man.
A beautiful
You can hear him saying, "I'm a very lucky man," and then you cut to this couple, which is a royal couple. I do not know my royal couples, but you can hear the reporter
shot of the new royal
talking about the new royal couple, right? And so they're using sound bites from that footage directly, which is cool, with the music underneath. And then I'm gonna kind of jump ahead now that we kind of saw that. I'll note that sound bites from archival footage, and that's like super cool. I think that adds a lot of body to the edit when you have this archival footage and you're using the soundbite from that archival footage versus just showing the footage. So if you have this old-timey sounding reporter talking about something, or this guy in a nightclub talking about something, those little sound bites are gonna help tell your story, especially depending on what they say.
He right for me.
Belgium, King Baudouin married Donna Fabiola. I think I'm a very lucky man.
A beautiful shot of the new royal couple.
So he says, "I'm a very lucky man." A beautiful shot of the new royal couple. Like, all of those sound bites are related to relationships, which is what this intro is about. And so now we're gonna look at
Donna Fabiola.
So this has a new overlay on it. If you look at this frame here, there's a square. There's a box going around here. That is, I'm assuming that's after the fact. I don't think that that's part of this footage. So I think they added that overlay. Square overlay. And then now we've got another title popping up on here. And again, now we're underlining the more, they're really emphasizing Vox in this, a Vox production. So it's a Netflix series and a Vox production, right? And I like, that's totally fair and makes sense. So like, if you were making this, you might underline your production company's name or whatever. And another thing, I just saw, like, as I'm doing this, I'm always seeing new things as I go. The overlay right here.
He right. Asking myself, is he right for me?
So that overlay, this like writing overlay that's flashing right here on the right-hand side of the frame, it is the same color, or it's probably the same color as this underline here, but it's actually just like a lower transparency, lower opacity. So I like that, kind of like subliminally ties it together, which is really cool.
King Baudouin married Donna Fabiola. I think I'm a very lucky man.
A beautiful shot of the new royal couple.
Okay, and so now this frame, like, we're gonna talk about this frame a little bit more here. So I'm not gonna do tons of notes on this as we go. I'm just sort of gonna talk through it a little bit more. But this one right here is, again, in this series, they do this in the intros all the time. And I'm guessing like right around the same time. It's like sort of a plug and play formula. And so in this frame, we have, this couple, George Clooney. I don't know her name. And they're here, and they have the frame replicated on the right-hand side, and it looks like it's exactly the same. They've matched it up. So basically what they've done is they've taken this shot and however long it is, and they've cut, they've copied it and probably put another layer on top of, so they took the shot and then they put a new layer with the same shot and they matched it up so it's the same exact timing. And they've cropped her out and they've slid that over on the left-hand side over here. And they've put the same border graphic just on here. They've made the opacity maybe a little lower, and underneath that, they probably put a white matte. So they put like a white matte underneath her. So when you drop the opacity underneath that, you're going to see like that faded look coming through with this graphic over top. And they've got Explained, which is the name of the series, kind of like subliminally stamped up here. And then sort of this weird time code that is, again, the same color as a color that's underlined for the Vox production. I don't know what that time code means. And you think maybe it's a date? I don't know. What do you guys think that is? And they still have that like film overlay, and then the next shot here, that film overlay is still there, and we're kind of keeping with that line, and then so they've done this like split screen on the shot before. Right here, they've done the split screen. And then they've continued the split screen right here, but it's not the same application. In this one, it looks like these two people are together. And I'm guessing this was like a wider shot of these two people probably getting married. And what they did was they cut the shot in half, literally, in post, and they zoomed in on his face and zoomed in on her face, and that they like kind of made that line in between them. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm going to just jot down these notes real quick. Split screen. So with some graphics, the overlay, the film overlay. There's something hilarious about that guy saying that. Cool. And that's to 1:56. So from 1:44 to 1:56, we have, 12 seconds, and we've got a lot going on, a lot of different layers, a lot of different methods of visual like effects, I guess. Like they have the film over top, they've got these split screens, they've got these mashups, they've got these graphics over top, and it's kind of it's a really cool, complicated, like poppy but clean way of making this like archival footage feel exciting. I think that's really what they're accomplishing here. 1:56. And so right there at 1:56, they did a jump cut in on what this gentleman's saying. So they had the frame back out. And then they just zoomed in on it, which, is like, that's super simple. You're just going to adjust your scale in Premiere Pro. So it's like a just quick jump in. So let's see. Scaled up shot. And that's like, again, they're making this archival footage like kind of dance and like ebb and flow with the music and make it a little bit poppier because, this is just a boring dude on a news show talking about the prince, right? Oh, this is cool too, right here. So let's say that's 1:58, and now we're at 1:58, and in this shot you can see as it starts, it's a full screen shot, of guy. And then it slides over, and it becomes a split screen. So again, like in these previous shots, we see them doing this split screen in multiple different ways. One way is they're duplicating the woman on the red carpet, and then you see her same action. And then the next split screen, they have like this couple, which I'm assuming is a shot of the two of them, and they've kind of cut them and mashed them and zoomed them in a little bit. And now we have a third split screen right here where it's a shot of someone, and then that slides over, and underneath that is another shot of that individual in a different setting. And now we're still doing the split screen, but like 3 different ways, which is cool. Again, they're keeping this shit super interesting. And in over top, they still have that.
Prince of Wales has admitted publicly that he was unfaithful. Announcing my resignation.
They still have that like film overlay, and there's a bunch of flashes. I don't know if you see that in a lot of these shots, and I'm not sure. Like I think some of them are happening in the actual clip. There's like paparazzi flashes, but there's also a potential that they're adding these like white flashes kind of over top in some of the scenarios there, because it feels like there's kind of like, it has this like, you know, paparazzi feel related to that. So flashes and film overlay. And you know, it's really weird, like the film overlay going frame by frame, I'm like, damn, they're overusing this. They're really like using the film overlay way too much. But I don't know. Like I don't get that sense. Sorry guys, just getting a little more coffee here. A little more, probably a lot more. Yeah. Yeah, in watching it, I don't really have this feeling that they're overusing it, because when you're like doing effects and overlays and visual stuff like that, like it quickly becomes like annoying and like overused. You know, that's kind of a thing I try to remind myself when I'm doing anything when it comes to like video creation, is like, don't overuse it. Like if I, you know, don't overdo it, always pull it back, especially like, you know, color grading, overlays, all that stuff. It's like, it just quickly becomes way too much. But so far this doesn't feel that way. All right, I'm going to check in on the chat real quick. Oops. Hey Nick, do you use Keylight right now? I don't know what Keylight is. Oh, Keylight. Am I using a Keylight? Yeah, for the actual visual. Yes. I have a 120D aperture with a softbox on it right here next to my face, and that's, you know, kind of acting as my Keylight. And then right over here, I have a like kind of a negative fill reflector. It's just a black reflector as a negative fill. It's pretty far away from me, but that's it. And then the light's behind me. But yeah, I am using a Keylight. Hey Ryan, how's it going, man? Thank you for stopping by. Doing a breakdown. If you guys just showed up, I'm doing a breakdown of an intro for a Netflix series called VOX. It's called Explained. And I'm just kind of going frame by frame and breaking down how they made it, because I think it's cool and I would like to learn how to do it myself. All right, so I'm going to watch this from the front without any speed adjustments, just to see how it feels.
I start asking myself, is he right for me?
Belgium, King Baudouin married Donna Fabiola. I think I'm a very lucky man.
A beautiful shot of the new royal couple.
Wonderful anniversary couple.
The Prince of Wales has admitted publicly that he was unfaithful.
Announcing my resignation.
The crime was to have conceived a child with a married neighbor.
Nelson Mandela to a broken marriage.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Okay, so we're getting closer to the end of this, and in going back and watching that, I think as you do this, if you do this and you want to learn how someone did something, it's important to go back and watch it from the start and see what you've missed. And in doing that just now, let's see, there was something that I noticed. I turned the music off. Oh, what I noticed was when this guy in his line, what his soundbite is. Here, let's listen to what he's saying.
Couple.
Wonderful anniversary couple.
The Prince of Wales has admitted publicly that he was unfaithful.
So the Prince of Wales has admitted publicly that he was unfaithful, and they do the jump cut, scaling up on him at that line, right? So.
Couple.
Wonderful anniversary couple.
The Prince of Wales has admitted publicly that.
The Prince of Wales has admitted publicly, and they're out here wide, and then they jump in, they scale up on his face.
He was unfaithful.
And the reporter says that he was unfaithful. So when you're doing a jump cut in on someone, like let's say I'm talking and then I zoom in and all of a sudden we're like closer, doing that is a way to emphasize a point. So in this intro, that gentleman is saying the Prince of Wales, blah, 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 blah. And then when they cut in and they zoom in on his face, all of a sudden we're closer to him. And that's emphasizing the point that he makes is that he was unfaithful. Okay, so using recomposing your shot to be closer to your subject is a way to emphasize a point. So that's what they're doing right there, and that's awesome. And you could do that with a single camera by zooming in post with scale, or if you had two cameras, like let's say I have another camera, it's a long lens, and you have a close-up. When someone's talking about something that's even more important than what they were talking about, you cut to the close shot. It's more intimate. It's more, whoa, yeah, it's right in your face.
Announcing my
Literally.
resignation.
Her crime was to have conceived a child.
And so now we've continued into here, 2 minutes.
Couple.
Wonderful anniversary card.
The Prince of Wales has admitted publicly that he was unfaithful. Announcing my resignation.
Her crime was to have conceived.
And so now we have another graphic coming in here over top of this clip right here.
A child with a married neighbor.
Nelson Mandela to a broken marriage.
I did not.
And you've got a couple of B-roll shots here after the split screen
Conceived
that are they're nothing crazy. They're not doing any more split
a child
screens.
with a married.
They've moved back to kind of, shot of lady with baby, shot of man getting out of limo, Bill Clinton.
Neighbor.
And then so you have the graphic text of narrator. Whoops.
Nelson Mandela to a broken marriage.
I did not have sexual.
And so on this clip of Bill Clinton right here, there's a quick little blip of.
I did not.
Oh. I missed it. Oh. All right, let's try that one more time. Hold on.
Nelson Mandela to a broken marriage.
I did not.
I'm preemptively pausing here. It was after he says sexual relations, I think. Oh, there it was. I missed it. Like, I don't know if I can keyframe back on here. Does anyone know if I can keyframe back on here? This is so annoying. I'm sorry, guys. It was right there. I missed it. Anyways, you probably have seen it by now, but across the screen, there was a... get out of here with this focus thing. There was like a green line across the screen right there. And this looks like, fully 90s, like VHS vibes in its quality. And that little blip across the screen may have actually been a genuine error in the footage, but I don't think it was. I feel like they added this little blip, graphic VHS glitch over top by, for this shot with Bill. I'm not sure though. But they definitely zoomed in on that, I would say. I would say that if we look up the footage of Bill Clinton talking about, Monica Lewinsky and his affair, I think it's a wider shot. And so by zooming in, they're emphasizing the granular quality of this footage. And that kind of makes it feel raw and old and gives it the certain quality aesthetically. and then the graphic, and then now the title is coming up. And as the title comes up, you know, that came out of nowhere. It kind of like lifted, it like slit, like imagine there was a wall here and it slid out from the bottom. So that was really interesting how that came out. There's that glitch. So it's sliding up right there, and at the same time, the line's coming across, and then there's these little like glitchy circles that were popping up right there. Monogamy is fading in as that line's coming across, as that's coming up. So you have multiple graphic assets that are coming in at the same time. So you have explained, sliding up, the yellow line is moving at the same time. There's these like flashes of like little like pins and needles, white and black, flash on, and then they fade away. So you have these multiple graphic elements happening in a simple graphic. And then monogamy is fading on. And as that's happening, the background's fading out. There was a little glitch up here, up top, and then now we have this like grid paper. And then they're holding on that right there. So let's watch that one more time, the graphic coming on. So it's sliding up, line starts coming across, a flash, 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 and then that fades out. There's the glitch up there. So like for a simple graphic, that like this is a simple graphic. It's literally text underlined with a comma and then more text. But they made it kind of like have these glitchy effects that just bring it more to life. So if you're doing something for your own videos and you're making something and you're like, you know, I just have the text fade on. Like, how can I make this a little bit better without getting complicated? Like, that's not that complicated to do. It's not crazy After Effects. It's not crazy title design. They're just using multiple elements at the same time to complement what's happening and kind of like draw your attention to that area. So if you think about those little dots that flashed on right before the word fades up, monogamy. So like right before it fades up, so this comes up, right? And then right here, see those flashes right there? My guess is they did that because subliminally, you're going to start looking there. Like, you're going to pay attention to, like, something is being underlined, and then all of a sudden above that, there's things flashing in that area that your mind's going to go, oh, what's that? What's right there? And then the word comes up. The title of this episode fades in right where that stuff was happening. So it's probably meant to draw your attention to that area. I'm going to watch this one more time in real time and kind of like get one more overview of what it feels like. Let's see. And this time I'm going to listen a little bit more to the sound. I'll turn that up a little bit. And make sure that I'm in real time. If I go over here, speed, normal.
Make it one of the most central goals of our lives.
I start asking myself, is he right for me?
Oh, King Baudouin married Donna Fabiola. I see, I'm a very lucky man.
A beautiful shot of the new royal couple.
Wonderful anniversary card.
The Prince of Wales has admitted publicly that he was unfaithful. Announcing my resignation.
Her crime was to have conceived a child with a married neighbor.
Nelson Mandela were broken married.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
So at the end right there, I just noticed something else. They took that shot of Bill Clinton saying I did not have sexual relations with that woman, and at the end of it, they slowed that down in post-production. Like, that wasn't filmed in slow motion, but they slowed it down in post-production. It has this weird, like, the whole intro has this archival, like, not old-timey, but like archival feel to it, but it's really engaging and poppy and stuff. And they literally, you know, right-click, speed, slowed it down, and that kind of like makes you feel like this whole intro is coming to a conclusion, which is so cool. And that's such a cool way to, like, you know, you don't really want to do slow motion in that way, but this way is super intentional and it works so well. I mean, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I really, really like this series. I like how they did that intro, and it just gets you stoked. And I think the core of that stoke is coming from that music bed. That song is just really, it's like flows with the people singing like it just gets you excited to like watch this series.